right, and we're back for another episode, and I'm joined by Parker Graye. How's it going?
It's so good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I'm doing great. COVID's slowly ending.
I know.
It's hopefully it's everything opens up soon, as they say.
I know. And then we can crush beers. We'll probably you can have beers, I'll have cider, but
I mean, yeah, whatever. I'll join you on the fire. I'm not afraid.
whiskey, tequila, mezcal, we'll just whatever's on the bar.
Whatever's there, we're in. All right. Starting things off for people who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
Yeah, so I'm a country singer-songwriter based in Vancouver, BC. Originally from Aurelia, Ontario, which is like just a bit north of Toronto. I grew up listening to country music, but it took me a while to get back to country music as an artist. And I grew up kind of always like loving pop music just as much. And I like kind of stepped into the electro pop rock world before I ventured back to country. And it just happened that when I was producing a pop single, I met this guy named John Strandell who co-wrote my first song, Do Over, with me. And that was like the catalyst to me being like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I'm going back to my roots. This is the stuff that I really want to work on. This is what gets me excited. I love storytelling. I love making people feel things. I have this like weird affinity for heartbreak, which is fantastic and awful all at the same time. So it just like, there's something about country music that just makes me so excited. And I get so jazzed about listening to music and listening to other people's songs and finding my own way to kind of say the same things. And so then Do Over happened, and now I'm just pushing more music out and trying to make country music sad again, I guess. Seems to be my lane.
I was definitely going to ask about the whole how you got back to country music.
Yeah.
But I want to know a little bit about your story of like how music started for you, because I know you didn't grow up in a musical family or anything like that. So what was that moment where you went, this is what I want to do?
So I was always a performer, if you will. And I used to I was in dance, I was in plays, I was in sports. I was kind of always like performing in some fashion. And I grew up singing, but no one in my family, like my mom couldn't carry a tune if her life depended on it, and neither could my father. But my aunt was really musically talented, and all of her kids were musically talented. So I spent a lot of time with them, and it just kind of happened that she was always pushing me to sing and always pushing me to like kind of go further with that. But being in a small town, and at the time, there was no real like, oh, well, you can be a songwriter, you can be an artist. Like the pop icons were like Shania Twain and Celine Dion. Like, how would you get there? So I never really knew how, and I never really had a clear path. And it literally took me obsessing for years and years and years, but never knowing what my doorway was going to be. And I moved to Banff, and that was like, I was chasing snow for years. And when I was there were so many people who were very musically inclined, and they kind of worked with me a bunch. And it made me realize, I was like, oh, I got to get my life together. Like, if this is really what I want, I need to like really start doing this. And when I moved to Vancouver, my first night here, I met my old music manager. I met like a bunch of big artists, and I was at this music industry night, and I was like, my life just changed. And from then on in, it was like I was producing music, and I was pushing so hard for that. So growing up, I was always just like doing it casually. I'd sing at my grade 8 graduation and talent shows and all of these things, but I never had something that like pushed me into it enough. So it took me longer. So sometimes I wish I was like, I wish my parents would have like put a guitar in my hands when I was 6, and like, but we all have our own journeys, and I'm grateful to be where I am now. Let's just say that.
Perfect. Awesome. And listening to your music, all your songs tell a great story, but they're all sad songs. Parker, I read somewhere Parker Graye is on a mission to make country music sad again. So what is it that you love about writing sad songs?
I'm so good at getting my heart broken. I'm so good at it. It should be a skill on my resume. Um, I I don't know. I've always loved feeling. Like there's something about when you feel something, be it happy or sad, there's just something interesting about that. But there's something about sad songs specifically that unlock like one of those metal filing cabinets in the back of your brain that you haven't thought about for forever and dust off an emotion you thought you forgot. And all of a sudden you're like catapulted back to that time. There's not a lot of things in life that do that. And there's something about sad songs that do. And I love pulling that feeling out of people, which kind of makes me sound mildly terrifying and crazy and evil, but it's not. It comes from a very nice place. And I think the interesting thing about heartbreak is we go through so much growth in a time of sadness and heartbreak. And there's so much positive stuff to reflect on, even when you get back to that sad place and where that feeling of heaviness and hurt exists. I think you can look back at that and be like, but I really learned something. Right. So it has these multifacets of like just sitting in that sadness and that place of hurt and whatever else. And also the other side of it is it takes you to another place of being like, yeah, that was an awful time, but look at where I am now. So although like it's very heavy and forward, there is this undertone of like, well, where are you now? Right. And for some people, you might be in that place of heartbreak in the moment, and others you might be years out of it and looking back at a past. But I love the moment when you hear a song and you already felt the knife and then it turns. Like there's something about that for me that I'm like, ooh, like those are the moments that I just kill for when I write songs. If I can achieve that in a song just once, then I feel like I've done my job.
Perfect. Okay, so with that being said, your singles Do Over and Before You Leave was about a past relationship with a farm boy. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about this relationship and what these songs mean to you.
Yeah, so we were a house on fire from the very beginning. And I really thought like he was going to be the guy that I was going to end up with, mostly because we came in and out of each other's lives so many times. And I was like, God, there's got to be a reason for this. Right. The reason is these songs, I guess, at the end of it all. But me chasing him chasing me, like a lot of lack of trust and a lack of communication. And it was one of those things where like I really had to learn what I needed and what I wanted and what being in love meant. And looking back on it now, it definitely wasn't that. And my idea of love was so skewed based off of my childhood and how I grew up. And he just wasn't, it was just never going to work. Like I should have seen it from the very beginning. And I remember some like specific moments, the very beginning, the first time we like properly met. And I was like, oof, bing, 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 bing. Like I should have looked at that and been like, those are pretty big things. And I just didn't. And I kept going, kept chasing. We'd be in each other's lives and we weren't. And it was just a tornado. But I got these songs out of it. So I guess there's a silver lining to everything.
Yeah, for sure. Does he know that those songs are about him?
I think I've told him outright, and I know some of the people, he moved back to his hometown to take over his family farm. And I know that there's some people who have kind of like poked him about it and like played the songs while he's around or like in the tractor. So sorry, pal, but thank you.
Okay. So you're releasing a new single coming up.
Yes.
June 18th called Last Time.
Yep.
You actually didn't plan on releasing this song.
Yeah, there was no intent. This song I wrote with a really good friend of mine, Luca Fogale, who's an incredible folk artist. He's unreal. And we wrote the song 3 days, maybe 3 or 4 days after the actual breakup with this guy. And I was destroyed. And I remember being in Luca's basement and being like, I have all these texts, I have this idea. And there was one line in the song, which is the hook line once everybody hears it. And I I was like, I feel like this could be a really cool hook. And I was like, I don't want to release this though. I just need to write this for me. Right. He was like, okay. So we dumped, like, I was crying in this, right? Like, I was like, I was beside myself. It was the most honest and intimate in a session I'd ever been. And it just meant so much to me. And I played it for a couple people and people were like, this is amazing. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, music's subjective, whatever. And then I played it at the BC Country Music Breakthrough Project last March before we all got shut down. And I just did it with a guitar and a vocal. And the room, it was so strange. Like it went from being roaring at the Roxy to silence. And I almost for a minute I was almost like destroyed inside because I was like, I shouldn't have played this song. I shouldn't have played this song. Like, this isn't the vibe, bad call. And then I was like, but maybe it's like exciting for people. Like maybe people are feeling something. Maybe you're doing exactly what you always wanted to do. And then after the show, everybody, like I was looking at social and most of the content that was coming through was video of that song. And I was like, oh, okay. And then people kept asking about it. They're like, what was that sad song you sang near the end? And I was like, oh shit. And I talked to different producers and I was so afraid because what I was hearing in my brain, I was like, I need to make sure the right producer captivates all of those things and like captivates the audience. And I can't have this song fall flat. Like it needs to be perfect. And then I met Spencer and we got into studio and I cried for, it sounds like I cry a lot, which I do, but in this circumstance, a lot. And I was over the sounding board listening back to like, probably like we had just comped the vocals and I was just losing it. It took me back so quickly. And I was like, holy moly. Okay. Like I'm committed now. Like this song is happening and I don't care about streams. I don't care about anything on this song. And all I want is for this to hit the right people and for it to really resonate with somebody who's either gone through this or going through it. And we've been through so much this year and we've all lost something. Yep. And at the core of this song, it's really about loss and loss of something that you thought you had. And I really hope this just gets to the right ears. Like it means so much to me. And I hope it ends up like giving something to someone else. Cause man, it really does. It does for me still. And I've listened to it probably 5,000 times. Like
for sure.
And
Yeah. And I think it's going to hit so many people.
Thanks.
I really do.
It's a hard time, right? Because like sad songs everyone wants to party and I get that. And that's the hard part about doing what I do. I think I put myself into a bit of a space of committing to heartbreak and some people don't love that, but I hope it lands. So thanks for believing in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've heard it already. So, and I love it. It sounds great.
Thank you.
Hit so many. With that being said, these 3 songs that you have an EP set to release in the fall.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna go start tracking it. Hopefully September, okay. And then push that baby out. So I'm excited. I'm gonna start writing. I've got some songs that I'm kind of like needling through to figure out what's gonna hit. Yep. I think last time will be an interesting thing because it is kind of different. Do Over Before You Leave and Last Time are all sonically a little bit different from each other. And I'm really looking forward to see how they all hit and how they all land collectively. And then really start to like get into the nitty gritty of how the new songs in the EP are going to come out. So I'm so very excited.
Awesome. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear it all. New music. That means more new music, obviously, right?
Yes.
So I'm excited. All right. For those who don't know, let us know where they can find you on social media.
All the socials. So I am on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at Parker Graye, ParkerGraye. And on all your streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, iHeart, all the things. And please pre-save Last Time.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have the link
So excited.
down below, and yeah, it comes out on the 18th, so we're excited. And before we get off here, I actually wanted to ask you one thing.
Okay.
I saw on social media recently. I just wanted to ask you because I'm sure some artists go through hate comments and stuff like that. And I know you recently had something happen.
Yeah.
So let us know how you kind of deal with these kind of things.
Yeah. So this was like my first endeavor into that. And if you were to look at this individual's profile, they're like a teenager, which is why I took the opportunity to talk about it. And the last year's been hard for a lot of people, obviously, between mental illness or just mental health in general, and our lives changing. We're not doing the normal things that we normally do. So I think if we were not in the situation that we are right now, I probably would have just brushed this off. But what was interesting was my reaction initially was like kind of sadness. And I read it and I was like, oh man, that's so mean. Like, I can't believe someone thinks that. And like, or I can believe somebody thinks that because everyone's entitled to their opinion, but like for someone to say it. And then I had to like snap myself out of it. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This person doesn't know you at all. And then I looked at their profiles and I was like, oh, you're also a teenager. And having been through, I was bullied on and off as a kid, and I'm sure I bullied somebody. Like, we've all gone through it, but it made me remind myself that I'm also an adult, and I've probably said things in the past that aren't fair or kind, not through comments because I think that's stupid, but like to just people in general. And I was like, this is a really good reminder to us adults to raise kids to not do these things, and also think twice about the things that we choose to say and come out of our faces, because our voices are so powerful regardless of who you are, and that can really destroy someone's day, someone's life. And I have enough self-awareness to know a lot of people do things because it's how they feel about themselves, or they've been bullied their whole lives and they're going through it. And you really don't know what someone has going on behind the scenes. And maybe that day I lost someone close to me and somebody said that. Like, these things are awful. And it kills me inside because I know there's teenagers out there who get comments like that, and it probably kills them inside, and it makes them not go for the things that they want in life, or it stops them from doing something they've always wanted to do, or tell their crush they like them, or anything. And I hate that. I hate that so much. So when I got that comment, I was like, okay, this isn't about like whatever. Like, this is more about you than it is about me, but I'm going to take this opportunity to use my platform and my voice, as people like to say, and just remind us all we've got to be kind and we've got to be nice. We're all in this world together, and you never know who you're going to run into at some point in life. And that person might be somebody in your circle 10 years from now. And I think we all have to just carry ourselves with grace and patience and understanding, and not be mean. And I can't imagine what real celebrities go through.
I know. And that's kind of why, like, because I know this kind of goes for everybody, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like being in this industry, because I know even myself doing these videos and videos I've done in the past that I've been fun of for it, and it doesn't bother me. It's like, it's kind of like, I'm just like, whatever, keep watching, like, because I know what I'm doing. I know there's a goal in mind. There's there's that, and they have no idea.
100%.
And so it's just, but yeah, like, just saying something like that. Now, you're absolutely right. Just the whole fact of like, it could be a bad day. And
and maybe it's his bad day or their bad day, but at the same time, that doesn't warrant being mean and unkind. And yeah, it was the first time it's ever happened to me, and I felt super weird being the person to like wave the finger and like be like that. but it's also something that I truly do believe in. And I've been mean before. We all have it.
Yeah.
But it's just a reminder to everybody. And yeah.
Yeah. And it's just people in this industry, like putting out their music, pouring out their heart and soul. Like, you know what? Like if it's just not your style of music, just move on. Like
and like
people are pouring
also like we look at social media and like a lot of what you see is not real life.
That's true.
People are using face filters, they've got this on, they're doing this, there's angles, there's all of the things. And the standard opinion about beauty and what's pretty and what's ugly and all of this is like, we need to really start dealing with this whole body image thing. And we really need to start getting a handle on people's shitty comments about whether you're pretty or ugly or whatever. Like, let's just, everybody is their own individual snowflake. And I mean that in the most beautiful of ways. And everybody has a place in this world, and looks aren't it all. And if you have a shitty heart, and if you don't lead with that, then nothing else really matters. So it kills me, because social media is so amazing in so many ways. And it connected us, it connects our music with the world, it connects what you do with the world. And these things where the negative stuff about it and the impact it creates on people in a negative way it's just so unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I think it's important we all talk about it. So I appreciate you also bringing it up, because I think it
almost slipped the mind. I was like, no, I have to. It came back. I was like, I have to ask it, because I the other day. So I was like, oh, I'm bringing that up on during this interview. So no, I appreciate it. And I hate to end it on that note, but
no, oh gosh, it's totally fine. I appreciate you, and for you doing what you do for all of us artists, whether we're indie or big. And it's great that there's someone out here like you, just like wanting to talk and share our music and share our stories, and it helps us all. So thank you for doing what you do. It's greatly appreciated.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm here to help. I'm here to support, and I just want to provide another platform to promote everyone's music, because that's what I love music, right? And I love
an angel. You're a real angel. You stop that. You stop that.
All right. Well, Parker, thanks so much for taking the time, and everyone go pre-save. Pre-save June 18th, and link will be in the description below. And Parker, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.